Okay. Hi everybody, or whoever is here. Sorry about being kind of late. I had other things to do. So I'm going to give Jim some fluids with corn syrup and a little bit of Miralax in it, because those narcotic pain medications, they plug you up. So I guess I'm the unplugger. Come on, Jim. Okay, Jim's embarrassed, so he wants me to blur his face out. I said the only way I know how to do that is get my paint and and paint it out. But anyway, yeah. I am going to give you some water while I talk. Okay. Wait, what? Okay, I said, when I shared the last one, that I was going to tell the story about my little cheerleader. When in 2001, the summer of the World Series there at Diamondback Stadium, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I ended up on the street. Jim, go over there and look in there without touching and see if I'm in there in the picture at all. Please. You don't have to touch it, nothing. Just look in there, okay? And see.
Yes, you're in there.
My whole
body.
Not half my face.
No, whole body.
I let it be half a face on the last one. I was trying to be kind to my relatives, because sometimes Pokey or Josie Wales or whatever, just full on, right, boom, is too much for some people. Because, believe me, it's too much for me. Just kidding. So anyway, gosh, where should I start? Okay, everything was going good. I was in demand. I was making money in Minneapolis after I quit the union. And by the way, I was in Iron Workers Local 512, Minneapolis, St. Paul. 2,000 men, and I was the only female that did structural. There was another native female, but she was pretty much stayed in ornamental. She installed window wall, and that's hard in itself. But so anyway, I'm not going to go into a lot of things, but after I left that, I did all kinds of stuff. I had every luxury, I had every toy, everything that's supposed to make me happy. But I was so lonely and lost, and pretty soon my art got to be a job that I hated doing. It killed my will to create. It's a cold, hard, cruel world when you get out there. I started a business with a giveaway girl. She was working for Microsoft, and I made her a Pendleton coat out of 2 Pendleton blankets, and I matched the designs up perfect, and it was floor length, and it was plush, and it was lined. She was really, really impressed with my work. So she was, seeing my ribbon shirts and the star coats, everything that I made pointed to making money off with me. So we decided to go into business, and we used an Ojibwe word for the name. And I don't know how to spell it, but I know how to say it. It's Nigananabin. That was the name of our company. And the logo, the slogan was, "Where the past meets the future today." Sounds kind of corny, but anyway, we got a really big contract right off. It was for the Ho Chunk bingo. That was just when casinos were opening up, but it was really big bingo. So my partner put in a bid, and we got the contract. But to get the contract, she had to commit to me making 5,000 vests that are reversible, and the whole uniform in 3 weeks. And she committed us to supplying the tuxedo shirts and the tuxedo pants. And I did the measurements and I gave them to her, and she got them all wrong. So here's a bunch of boxes with tuxedo pants and another one tuxedo shirts, some of them with sleeves that would I couldn't believe any company would be stupid enough to shorten a tuxedo sleeve clear up to the shoulder. I mean, everything. So, I wanted to hire some help. I had a little my friend's daughter, oh God, she was so good helping me. She was cutting and laying out stuff. And I told her I need money to hire somebody. And she says, there's no money. You're taking too long. There's no money. And what pissed me off, see, she had all kinds of degrees from Microsoft and everything. But when we went to go and get the business account, they rejected her because she was 1 week late on a student loan. So the business was in my name, and the deal between us was that it was in my name, and she just had to, we both had to sign any kind of transactions. And you know what the sneaky bitch did? She made a rubber stamp with my name. So when I kept trying to reason with her, and I was working night and day, and finally, she told me, she said, "You're just going to have to deal with it." And I said, "No, I'm not. I don't have to deal with anything." And I wrote a paper saying, "I give my partner," and I don't really want to give her name, "my half of the business, everything. I have no part of, I'm taking no part of the business with me. It's all." And I signed it, and I threw it down there, and I left. Man, that broke my heart. And another one, I was working for the wardrobe department at the Mystic Lake Casino, and there was is that enough? Do you feel okay? It's not too cold or anything? All right, let that work a little bit, and then I'll put something in the blender for you with a lot of bran and stuff, okay? Okay. You can write that down. I'll finish this. But I could go for days in what happened, but anyway, so I hated money. I hated people. I lost all my faith in humans, friends. I had a few that stuck with me, but basically, when the money kind of ran out, because I was making big money when I was an iron worker, and I could make big money, because I was capable of that. But it was too hard being alone. It was too hard being by myself. No family, never talked to anybody. You know, the only time people were there is when money was involved. You know, or I was throwing a big lavish party, you know, stuff, and I was good at that. When I was really down and had nobody, everybody I called, nobody showed up. It was always, well, give me a couple minutes, I'll see what I can do. Click. And there's no use calling them back because they ain't going to answer. They just blew me off. Or, well, I got to do this, but as soon as I'm done, I promise I'll stop by. Click. Never an answer. So I learned, I don't depend on people. If I need something, I get out and I get it myself. I learned how to work on cars. I mean, I can do all kinds of stuff. Well, these newer ones are too hard, but on the old classics, oh man, I could do everything in that engine. But anyway, when I just got tired of everything, I was put in the hospital a few times for suicide attempts. And after the 8th one, I figured out this must be my punishment. God's not letting me leave this world. And you know, people do commit suicide for different reasons. There's those that, oh God, that I hate to even think about, is hanging themselves from trees. I mean, there was an epidemic. Every family had a tweener, a boy or girl, hang themselves. So the government created a committee and sent them to Standing Rock to study, to find out why they're all committing suicide. So it came back, and you know, it was all on the parents drinking and all this, you know, but what they needed to look at, it is on the parents drinking. Alcohol isn't something that they act like we were just born drunks, like it was in our DNA, we just naturally had to have that. They gave it to us as a poison. And I watched my whole family die. I was beaten, abused. I was even sold by my dad once when he was drunk to a couple that just inherited a whole shitload of money. But then the next day, when there was nobody to watch my younger brothers, he came and took me back. You know, but there was a lot more things, you know, but it was all alcohol. You know, my mom and everything. But pretty much that's been the everything in my life that I always call it Pokey's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong every fucking time. So I had to be prepared for it. So, you know, I got smarter, but a lot of things still hit me, and it was always by the people I loved most. You know, but anyway, in 1999, I was in Salem, Oregon with my aunt. Everybody left, and I had made the decision to go back to Minneapolis and pick my art back up and pursue what I was capable of. You know, I was around my family and everything, and you know what I figured out? Family is really highly overrated. You know, family is loving and nice if you leave within 5 days. Any longer than that, you become with my daughters, you know, so much drama, getting drunk and cussing me out, and I chased my next to youngest around the table. I was going to kick her ass when she got drunk and started saying shit to me. I said, "You think you can talk to me like that? Then you better be able to kick my ass, bitch." I chased her around, and she ran into the bedroom, flipping me the finger. So I said, "Oh, no." And my older daughter is there grabbing me, saying, Mom, no, she's drunk." And I said, "I don't care. I've learned from my life in vino veritas. You know what that means? That's Latin for in wine there's truth. And all these people that do shit when they're drunk and say, oh, I can't remember. It's because they don't want to remember. Or, that's an excuse. So they cuss you out when they're drunk and they come and cry when they're sober and hungover and say, oh, I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing. Bullshit. Alcohol removes your inhibitions. So if you're thinking something mad at somebody and you're sitting there supposed to be having fun partying, every Indian party I ever went to stages where they're sitting around playing cards, just drinking a few beers, a shot once in a while, and then it goes to where people are there, everybody's getting buzzed up, happy, and all love each other and tell each other all these stories about how they're sorry what they did to them and how much they love them, and pretty soon it turns into crying jags. From there, everybody's crying and telling each other everything, and all it takes is one of them to say something the wrong way, then it's into kicking ass, where everybody's fighting everybody. It don't matter if they're in on it, it just turns into a crazy natives. I don't know, because most of, I guess, I don't know, but holy Christ, there was some wild parties. But anyway, I was in there, but I never really got into where I wanted to be drunk all the time because I hated hangovers. See, that was God's way of keeping me from following my mother, my uncles, most of my ancestors, most of my people. He made it right away so the hangovers were so debilitating. I didn't want to drink, but I would drink because everybody around me drank. And if I didn't drink, I was at home with everybody's kids. And that was okay. But sometimes parties go into days, and that's okay, because, family has babysat for me. But it's not just that you have to babysit. It gets kind of lonely because you don't have no company, no one to visit you until how many days or whatever until the party's over and everybody passes out and then they wake up hungover and all they do is get up and eat and drink a whole bunch of water or some kind of liquid and lay back down and but I don't know if everybody done that everywhere, but in Minnesota, everywhere I went, even in Arizona, Chicago, the main thing is hangover soup. That's basically macaroni, tomatoes, onions, hamburger with a lot of soup. And man, that's the best thing when you're hungover. Or menudo. Not the canned, but real stuff. I know all the hangover stuff, but that's how it kept me from really turning into a drunk. I went off and I became everything I wanted to. But it was no good when I was all by myself. So long story short, and they're never short, if you know what I mean, I ended up in 2001 in the homeless area in Phoenix, Arizona. And that was when the World Series was going to be at Diamondback Stadium then. And the police were just terrorizing us homeless people. But you know what? Those homeless people restored my faith in humans. In the kindness of... Because, if they have nothing and they're willing to give you half of what they got and nothing in return, now those are people. That's how our native people are. But most of the time when you end up there, natives, it's, even if you want to quit, you can't. The hangovers, you're so sick and you've done things to family that you're probably ostracized or, restraining orders and, you feel like you can't go home. So they just drink and drink and until they end up dying on the street. Now that's sad. I see it all the time. But you can't make somebody do what they don't want to do. But you make it so they can. You know? And I know what homeless people needed. We were allowed to sleep on this, I can't remember the street, I think it's Monroe or Madison. It's an old Civil War cemetery that has a long straight road down the middle. And they have these wrought iron fences on both sides with kind of heavy, bigger gravel. You know, and they would allow us to sleep along there. Well, I got to where I would sleep on the end because the closer you get to the light, or the closer you get to what is basically Cass shelter, and there's a road there, and that's where it's barricaded off. But I kind of started out at the end, and I got to know people, and all the people there got to know me, and some Indians found me, native guys, and I moved up to the prime spot right away. You know, nobody could pee on those pillars or anything, and they washed all around there with bleach and water. You know, cleaned it up for me, and nobody could set up camp there but me. But you have to have a shopping cart because you have to have your own blankets and everything. You can't leave anything anywhere because they'll go along and they throw them away. So everything's in a shopping cart. So I started out with like just a few blankets and a half a shopping cart, and pretty soon I filled it up, and then I got cushions, and I got big sheets of plastic, and where my camp was, when I would go there in the evening, when they would finally let us go and set our camp up, there would be plastic bags with food, you know, tied to the fence right there for me. And, you know, people would go around, they'd give things away, sleeping bags, you know, and the people in the shelter would get them and they'd bring them over to me. So anytime somebody ended up out on that street there and didn't have a place to go, or even people that were there, I would go around to all of the places that give free clothes, and I would grab all the socks and like boxers and, you know, underwear that doesn't look too bad, you know, and sweaters and anything that people need, and coats and jeans. I mean, I would gather up clothes in all sizes, and I would keep them. And people that didn't have a coat, or their feet hurt because their socks were so old or whatever, would come to me, and I would give them socks. I never expected anything in return. I never gave it to them. I never sold it to them. I gave it to them. And everybody was always coming. And, you know, I had one of my friends, I'm not going to say her name, but she had the flu. I let her sleep in my camp, you know, because on weekend that time they let us keep it up. Because we were allowed to set up our camps all along that area when they barricaded that road off. So we were allowed to go in and set up our camps. And about exactly 7 in the morning, here would come a police cruiser saying, "Get up, time to get up, roll your shit up, take your carts," you know, stuff. So we'd get up and, you know, put our stuff away. It got to where I had 2 shopping carts, you know, so I started a shopping cart babysitting business. So I found this area that the police didn't bother, and everybody would come and park their shopping carts there, and I would guarantee that nobody would bother it, and they would pay me. Not a whole bunch, you know, but I would get something, you know. But there was this one day, one of these, he's a kind of an older Latino guy. He come up and he said, Mom, there's a little girl over here. Somebody's got to help her. I told her, I said, bring her here. And he said, but she won't listen. She's just like a zombie, and people are guys are grabbing her and taking her and molesting her and doing all kinds of stuff to her, and they let her go, and she just gets up and starts walking. And he said, here she comes right now. Oh, God, that broke my heart so bad the first time I seen her. She come walking down that long road in the middle of the road. If her hair wasn't all matted and full of weeds and there was matted blood around her face, and she wasn't inside there. She had the prettiest blue eyes. But she had been traumatized so bad that she just completely left her body, and I couldn't get her to come with me. So she kept walking, and I told my friend, I said, follow her and watch her. So she come back by again, and this time I got up and I said, there you are. I've been looking all over for you. You're late for dinner. Come on. And look at how dirty you let yourself. Come on, we gotta get you ready for dinner. Come on. And I took her over and I sat her down and I gave her something to eat. And I said, but now you're going to go to bed. And I said, I don't let anybody go to bed, unless they have their pajamas on. And I pulled some clothes out and stuff. And right at the end of that long road, if you go a couple blocks, you end up in Van Buren. But there's a little park right there, and it was a concrete building, and kind of towards the back was a faucet. I used to go there and fill up jugs of water and sell them. This Phoenix, Arizona. So, you have to hustle. You have to get yours somehow. And it doesn't have to all be illegal. Sometimes you have no choice. But anyway, I said, come on. And I got my friend I was letting her sleep at my camp for a while. Because when you first get there, you don't have no blankets or anything. They always end up at my camp, and I let them sleep, and I tell them how things are, and I feed them, and I let them get to where they can go on their own, set up their own camp. So everybody called me Mom. So I said, come on, and I got my friend, and I grabbed a sheet, and I said, bring those clothes right there. So she brought them in the sheet, and I was hugging her, talking to her, saying, where were you? You shouldn't stay gone so long. You worried us. I was talking to her like she was my daughter that just came home late. And she responded. She followed me. She didn't pull away. She just kind of nuzzled into my arm. I was hugging her like that, and I said, don't you do that again. And I was pushing her hair back and telling her that she needs to come home, and she needs to let me know where she is, because I worry, So we took her over there, and I had that girl hold that sheet around, and I turned that water on. I had a white plastic bucket that I had stashed in the bushes there, because that's kind of basically how we showered a lot of times. And we had to be careful because the park closed at 10 o'clock at night. But, during the day, if they caught you using that faucet, they chased it off. Well, it's the only place around that you could really use the water. So I had my friend hold that up, and I got shampoo and soap, and I used that bucket, and I doused her, and I said, ooh, I know it's cold, but it feels good, it's so hot. I talked to her, and I shampooed her hair. I swear, I used that whole bottle of shampoo, getting all the dirt and the shit, everything out of her hair. And she had the prettiest blonde, natural curly hair. That's why I named her my little cheerleader. Because, except for the circumstances that she was dealt, she's one of them that you'd see coming right out on the field in junior high, cheerleader, pretty, beautiful little girl that had been so abused and molested, and her her stepdad, she was a little baby when her mom married her stepdad. But at 4 years old, her mom died of cancer, so she was left, and his stepdad was molesting her and took her down to a basement and started shooting her up with heroin. A little baby, and allowing people to come down and rape her. She told all the people around when they asked about her that when her mom died, that she went with relatives. But all that time, she's in this basement, and he's shooting her up with heroin and letting guys come down and do anything they want to her. But when she's 15, she said she got away once, and the police got her, and he brought her right back to him because he told him that he was worried about her because she's been doing drugs and wants her home. So, and it broke my heart to see she was covered with cigarette burns all over her body, bruises. You could see where her arm, the bone didn't heal right, so her arm doesn't work right. But she escaped. And she got on a city bus, and the city bus driver took her to the homeless area and let her off. So she was wandering around there, and there's predators there. I mean, they're looking for anything, and she was so pretty. I didn't know it. I didn't know anything about her then, or it wouldn't have happened. But they were grabbing her, and they'd take her and have sex with her and sell her and everything. But as soon as they were done, they'd let her go. And she'd just stand up and keep walking again. She'd never made any emotion or nothing. She was so... And you couldn't report her to the police because she was 15, because that's putting her right back in there. So I took her under my wing. While I was washing her up, shampooed her hair, everything, put those clothes on her, took her home, and brushed all the knots out of her hair. She was so infested with head lice, her hair looked like it was white. So I got oil. I oiled her hair really good, and I let it set. And I dug up a knit comb. And everybody saying stuff or whatever, I said, I don't care. So I would sit there and brush all the nits out of there, that oil, and I had a little bed, and she slept with me. I had I put my cart, and I had a heavy plastic that I tied around the wrought iron so the wind couldn't blow through. And her bed was on the foot of my bed. And I slept in my sleeping bag, and she had her own little sleeping bag. She was there. She was safe. Oh, that she finally started talking. I mean, it took a while. Just patience and love. Doing that to her every day. And when she'd go somewhere, I'd tell her I wanted to come home now. And she'd come home, and I'd feed her. And, oh, God, she was just thriving. And I just loved her so much. She was my little baby. She was my little bird I found. Fell out of the nest and needed rescuing. Until one night, me and my boyfriend were sleeping in my camp, and all of a sudden, she's diving on me, screaming, hysterical, trying to crawl under me, and she's just covered with blood. And she was so desperate to get under me because she was afraid, and she knew I'd protect her. And right behind her comes this big Mexican bitch that worked for this black, I'm going to call him a pimp. And I'm not saying something bad about him because he's black skinned. He's black in his heart. He was after her. He kept trying to turn her out. But I protected her. And here he gave her some drugs and then said she had to pay for it. And she took off. So that bitch on that bike tracked her down and pistol whipped her. I mean, she got away and she ran to me and she was hiding under me, and that girl come up and she pointed her gun right at us, and I said, you better point that fucking gun somewhere else, bitch. And I said, you better look at whose cat you're messing with. And my boyfriend sat out and he says, hey. And she said, I want her. Give me her, there's no problem. I said, well, that her is my daughter. And I told everybody, don't mess with my daughter. I said, so no, she's not going with you. And she said, bitch, I'll kill you. And I said, you're going to have to. And then all of a sudden you hear click, 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 click all around me. Because where I slept, all the young Latino guys, all the Latino dealers and everything that came over here and weren't able to find work, you have to live. And their main priority is getting some money back to their family. And anybody that thinks that's wrong, like this one guy said, he doesn't like them because they take jobs away from Americans. I said, bull fucking shit. The jobs that they do, Americans are too lazy and spoiled to do for that amount. I said, so without them farmers, who's going to pick them? You? And then he said, and besides that, the money they earn, they send to Mexico. It should keep in this country. I said, how stupid are you? They work illegal, so all that Social Security and income tax, everything that they took out, they never get back. And you know, what they're sending to Mexico would be a little bit here, but it's a lot to help them. So why would you be stingy and say, oh, that money is going to stay in this country? You know, I stand up, man. My best friends in Salem, Oregon, I don't know if they were illegal or not, but they were all Latinos from Mexico or, you know, all the countries. My best friend was from Michoacan. I had a boyfriend that was from Sinaloa. I married a guy that was from Mexico City, but I annulled it the next day when he tried to pull that machismo shit on me. But in 1999, I made the wrong choice, and I accepted a ride from two native girls that I knew that I partied with around Salem. And it was during a heat wave in August. Oh man, it was hot. It was 120 in the shade. Oh, excuse me. So they pull up. I'm sitting out on a balcony in the apartment I was renting. And they pull up below and are honking. And they said, too hot? And I said, hell yeah. And they said, come on, you want to go swimming? And I said, where? Because I don't know how to swim, you know. And I said, no, I want to go. I said, to cool off, but I don't know how to swim. And they said, where we're going is a boat dock. You know, it's a concrete ramp that goes down. And she said, most of us know how to swim. So I said, all right. And I got on there. And they said, well, we're going to do some shopping first. You want to come shopping with us? And I said, no, not really. And I was planning on going swimming. I had on a tube top with a wife beater shirt, that white one over it, and a men's boxer shorts and flip-flops. Man, I was stupid. I didn't know going shopping was Salem slang for running in and grabbing as much as you can and running out and driving off. So we had a high-speed chase through fucking Redneck City, Corvallis, Oregon. Never did get to go swimming. Anyway, we had a high-speed chase. They stopped. We all jumped out, and I said, I'm not running, but I'm not staying there because people will see us, and it don't matter if I'm guilty or not. You know, they'll make up all this stuff when they tell the police to sensationalize it. So we just crawled under a bush and whatever. But a chief of police comes, and all three of us are handcuffed sitting on this hot concrete curb in the sun. And this chief of police comes and he says, you might as well tell me who was driving and all this stuff, because they kept asking me. I said, not me. Well, who was? I don't know, not me. That's all I said. Because fuck, I'm from the hood. Fuck, I guess ghetto was my home. So I understand how to handle, how to talk, and how to deal with police and stuff. So anyway, this chief of police comes and he says, you had better learn, because we're going to make you learn the hard way. We do not allow people like you to come into our town and break our laws. And the other two had their head down, and I looked out at them and I said, excuse me, sir, can you please define for me what people like us are? Is it because we're women? People from Salem? Because we all have long brown hair? Or the only other reason is, and he just stopped right there and he stomped off to his cruiser and got in. Chief and the other officer there that was with the car, they left us in that damn sun, and it was 2 hours later. They had pulled a cooler out with ice and water and they were drinking it. And I said, excuse me, sir, my two friends here are so heat stroked, they're both ready to black out. So I'm just letting you know right now, so if something does happen to them, you can't say you didn't know. So that the officer that was there with the chief of police came over and had a ice cold bottle of water. And he says, he said that I can give this to you, but you have to drink it yourself and you have to share it. And our hands were handcuffed behind our back. So I told them girls, I said, here. I had one of them turn their back to me, and I put the bottle of water in my hands, so I could tip it, and I had to take the cap off, and I laid down and I poured water in their mouths, and the other one too, they did that. And they said, okay, your turn. And I said, hell no, I don't need their goddamn water. I said, here, and I poured it all over them to cool them off, and I just sat there. I was looking at it, and every time that chief of police came out, I said, excuse me, sir, I'm still waiting for you to answer my question. And it was after that my question was answered, because a cruiser pulled up, and it had a native officer. And when it pulled up, the chief of police went up and put his arm on him and said, see, we got one of you on our force. See? That native officer. And he was mean. He took us and he had to book us and everything. And, oh, God, he was saying stuff that anybody else couldn't get away with saying. He said, it's people like you that make it hard for those of us that are trying to work. And I said, there you go with that, people like you. So that tells me that you're the only Indian officer here. And he said that they pulled him off of a family barbecue to come in and deal with us. And I said, so you say come in and you treat us like dirt, and then you say people like us, again, just like echo of your chief of police, you already automatically convicted us. They said, well, there was a high-speed chase. And I said, well, I am telling you, I had no knowledge of that. I had no part in it. And the other girls said that was true, that we were just going swimming. And there was when the girls grabbed all that stuff, and it had to be from the Emporium, Nike, Adidas, all these real fancy. And I was waiting out in the car in the shade because they said they had to do shopping. And we were going swimming, so one of the cashiers came over and she said, you can't park here. And I said, I know, but I'm waiting for my friends. They're in there shopping and it's hot. So she said, okay, but if anybody says that you have to move, I'll come tell you. So I said, okay. And this is like a Bronco. It's just got the 2 seats in the front, but you have to push them all the way over to get in the back. And the back is kind of big and square, and there was a bench across there. So once those seats were up, you could not get out of that Bronco. So all of a sudden, the 2 girls that were there come running out with armloads of all this stuff, and stupid. They did it while there was a sidewalk sale there. So all these clerks were right on them, and the clerk that was so nice to me was grabbing on to the one girl, and she turned around to hit her. And I said, no, don't hit her. And I said, let go, she'll hit you. So anyway, she let go, and we went on a high-speed chase, and I'm slapping all over in the back, and they said, why didn't you get off? Yeah, right. I got off as soon as it stopped. I didn't run away. But anyway, I was convicted. Ended up, they came to me and asked me, my attorney kept trying to get me to accept a plea, all this stuff. But I said, no, I want to go to court. I want to see what the court has to say about what kind of people we are. So my attorney, with the witness, they couldn't charge me with the act, but they had me on felony conspiracy. So they had to drop it if they went to the other 2 girls, and they said that I didn't know about it. So they went to the one girl, she was already back in prison by then, and they asked her, and she said, no, she didn't know about it. We just told her we were going swimming. And she said, when we asked her if she wanted to come, she said no. So he came back, and before he talked to the other girl's attorney, because there was 3 of us, then this is my attorney. He went to the other girl's attorney and told him that he had talked to me about going state's evidence. And that's it. He didn't tell me if I said no or yes. And I said no. When he asked me, I said I had nothing to contribute. I didn't know nothing. I said all I know is I'm flopping around the back of something and I thought I was going swimming. I said no, I'm not, no. Forget that state's evidence. I want to go to trial. I said, let's go to trial. And he said, if you go to trial, you're going to get the maximum sentence if you're convicted. And I said, I don't care. I'm going to trial. So when he went to the other girl's attorney and said that they talked to me, the other girl went state's evidence against me. Up. She went state's evidence against me to save her ass when I wouldn't do it to save her ass or my ass. So basically, they gave me a deal of diversion, but they set it up so I had to fail it. So I was $100 short of paying what they said by the date. I did everything that they required. And I called and I had 2 hours before the deadline and I couldn't get another 100, but I had a job set up to clean this house and stuff, and I have 100 the next day. And they said, no, if you do not have it in by 5 o'clock, there's a warrant issued for you. And I said, I can't even get there. I said, can't I just give? And they said, no, that's not the conditions. So I just said, fuck it. And my boyfriend at the time had gotten a charge I didn't know about, and they arrested him and they deported him to Mexico. And the way they deport people is so fucking cruel. Man, that's why I'm so against this shit. You know that they take them and they put them in these holding cells, and like him, a helicopter came and they loaded him up with all these people that are getting sent back. They're not allowed to have any money, any papers, or anything from here. And they just take them on the bridge, like to Juarez, where I was. They would just take them across that stop on the bridge, and let all those guys off, and that was it. They basically, like my boyfriend, he was 12 when he got here. He didn't even know life and anything in Mexico. So I went to Mexico. Being the loyal woman I am, when he got into Juarez, I was there. I was waiting. I had money for us to live. But he started drinking and started beating me or hitting me or trying to slap me a couple times because he couldn't believe that the 13 months that he was in prison that I was faithful. And I was in Phoenix waiting for them to transfer him. You know, and everybody knows me. I was faithful. But the last time, he was biting me all over and I was screaming, stop. And their women are like way low on the totem pole. You know, I see men beating their women out in public and nobody looks. It's machismo. The women don't matter. You know, but I was screaming so loud, he was drawing blood, and I had all these bites, and I couldn't get away. And pretty soon, the manager, and she never talked to me or nothing. All the women around there treated me like shit because I was American. So you think all these people love you, it's only to your face, because the way the tourists, the Americans come there and treat them like shit. You know, tourists, you go to another country, man, you walk with respect. You're in another man's land. And basically that's what it was. So when she came in and did that, he let me go. And I jumped up and I grabbed my suitcase, my little suitcase on wheels, and I threw everything in it. And I just got my Social Security check. I basically had to pay rent in El Paso so I could get my Social Security in the country. And it wasn't illegal that I know of, and I don't give a shit. But anyway, I took $100 bill, American, and I stuck it in his pictures and rolled him up and left him. He wouldn't find him right away, but he'd find him. And I walked across that border and I never looked back. I went to Phoenix, and that's how I ended up in the homeless area. Basically, there's a lot more to that story. But while I was in that homeless area, that was when my little cheerleader came, and she was bloody and pistol whipped. But all of those Latino guys, that was click, 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 click. They had guns pointed on them. Man, that was Phoenix. They didn't mess around with nothing. Just 2 nights before, I'm sitting at my camp and I'm brushing my little cheerleader's hair, and we hear boom, boom, boom. So I just grabbed her and shoved her under the sleeping bag and held her down and didn't move. And she kept saying, I said, shut up, don't move. And I held her there, and you could hear the car driving by to see if anybody saw. So they left. And if they would have seen us, they would have killed us, you know, because we're basically nothing. So anyway, after I knew they were gone, I opened it up and I let her out, and this guy's laying out there in the in this corner beside Cass, and that he was laying there dead. And here come the coroner and the police and cordoned everything off, and came and asked us if we saw anything. Nope. Did you hear anything? Nope. I'm not going to die. You know, what you learn on the street, you reap what you sow. And what it was this guy was a young Latino, and he was too healthy and everything to be homeless. And so they're kind of watching him, and he went out of the area. You know, everybody, there's an area that is kind of like the homeless area. I mean, I could go anywhere, pitch dark there, and make a noise, heads popping up everywhere. You okay, Mom? You okay, Mom? But this guy went out the area, and they saw him talking to a cruiser. They had their door open, and he had his arm up there, talking to them. So as soon as he got back in the area, boom, 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 he's dead. Because they don't fuck around. There ain't no, like, here in Seattle they had this thing, give up 3, get out free. So basically you give up 3 dealers or whoever you know, your friends, to save your own ass. Man, if you go into a prison or you go anywhere besides Oregon, you're dead. Even if they don't know you. Just get to wear that snitch jacket. But, you know, there's times, I've called police out here when I heard an old man screaming. Somebody was robbing him, but I was on there and I was screaming out the window saying, police are on their way, my husband's down there, he's got his gun, and stuff. So, you know, he let him go and took off. You know, I will stand out and help people. But in something like that, I didn't know anything, and I valued my life and my little cheerleader. So anyway, I'll finish the story. When that girl hears click, 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 she says, well, I got to take her. And I said, you don't got to take her anywhere. I said, you tell him, and I told her name, you tell him to come and get her if he wants her. So she said, he's going to be mad. And I said, I don't care. So she rode off, and I told my little cheerleader, Cass was a shelter that was right there. They had the emergency button downstairs. But if you were on the street, you know, they didn't really answer anything. So I said, I gave her a big rock. I said, you go over there and you push that button and you scream and hit the door with that rock. You make them come out. I said, and you tell them somebody's trying to kill you. And I said, you never come back out here again. So they did. And the next day they come and found me. And they asked me what happened and who did it. I said, all I know is she came and was jumping on me all bloody and said somebody's trying to kill her. So I told her to run over here. You know, because I don't want to die. That's snitch. Even if it was something that was the right thing to do. You know, I did what I had to save her life. And I told him that she needs psychiatric help, and I told him what she told me, and I told him to look at her body. But the next day, the day after that I got her to come with me, and I took her and I washed her up, there's a free homeless clinic that is connected to the CAS. I can't remember what CAS stands for. It's CASS. But I took them and I told them that she was my daughter, but that she disappeared for a few days, and I just found her. And I want them to check her. And they did tests. God, that little girl was infested with body lice, crabs, gonorrhea, chlamydia. She even had syphilis. And they tested her for AIDS, you know, but that wasn't going to come back for a while. So basically they gave me the medicine and they gave her shots and they did everything to get her well. And they gave me shampoo, you know, to get rid of the lice, everything. And I took her home. You know, I made sure. So when they asked me, when the shelter and the police, you know, the police are with them because they want to know who did this to this little girl. And I told them, don't send her back to her stepdad. She was out here. And I told them, look at her medical records. She was treated by the doctor in the free clinic. Look at what condition she was. And I said, that's all I'm going to say. So they took her and they said that they're going to put her in a hospital and then in a psych ward. I didn't even know her real name. But I got her out of where they were going to kill her. And I have so many stories like that. The police started running us out, all kinds of stuff. And there was the World Series game there. in Diamondback Stadium, seventh game. The homeless, there was a young Christian group of young people, that we could go and take showers, and they fed in the evening and stuff. I was telling them about what the police are doing to us, so they set up a protest at the last game of the World Series outside. They got the permit and everything, and it was supposed to be them and homeless people to tell what the police were doing. I was the only homeless person who showed up. I don't care. I'll stand up. So I was the only one there with the other, the young people that were with me, and they had little signs. But I had two signs. I had one that said, Jesus was a homeless person. Are you ready for his second coming? Or did you just yell at him to get a job? And I had another sign. It says, who will protect us from those sworn to protect and serve? And you know what? I was interviewed by Channel 5 News. And when I was done, they at Canada, everybody said, you did good. It's going to be on 10 o'clock. I slept beside Civil War Cemetery. I never got to see it. And I haven't been able to find it. So if anybody that's good at computers can find it, oh God, that would be the biggest gift of love. But anyway, this is my life. And everything I say can be proven or documented. I have a million stories about who homeless people really are. Homeless people is you. It's every one of your family, your sister, your brothers, no matter how rich you are, the higher your credit rating, the faster you fall to the bottom. And there's going to be so many out on the street homeless that can be recycled. We recycle everything. We went green on everything. Why not recycle our homeless people? Don't just build more pens and put them in pens until they die or they go to prison and they're slaves. Recycle them, because they are not drug dealers, prostitutes, pimps. All these people, they are not that when they get there. But they are there. That's what they turn into if they're there very long. Because that's the only way you can pull money out of thin air. And maybe there's shelters that feed you everywhere, you get clothes. But you smoke and you want to sit there. Maybe you want to have a beer. Not everybody's an alcoholic. Or you smoke. Everybody walks around and picks up cigarette filters off the sidewalk. How much disease does that spread? People got to realize a homeless person is someone just like them that could have made a wrong decision, a wrong choice, or trusted somebody, or invested, or got too much credit and lost their home. Homeless people are everybody, but they all have skills. Now, I had a friend that was a criminal attorney, a licensed criminal attorney for King County. His wife was abusing him and kicked him out, so he was living on the street and going and showing up to court until he couldn't do it anymore. And I don't know whatever happened to him. One was a chef, a 5-star chef in Chicago. And look at me. I was out there. The skills I have and everything that I am capable of doing. But you know what? You've got to get people before they hit the street. Have programs that don't make you jump through 1,000 hoops if you're a few dollars short on your rent to keep you from getting addicted. Help you. Don't always assume that if you're short on your money or you didn't spend every penny the way they said, that you must be on drugs. Don't assume that. Nobody knows. Don't walk in other people's shoes. We need to learn to love each other again. To stand beside each other. loyal. Not just as soon as somebody says something bad, you jump right on it and turn against them. My own daughter stabbed me in the back. You know, loyalty. Stand together. We are one. Mini Wachoni. Water is life. Until the day I die, and even the spirit, I'm still going to be in it. And I'll bet you anything. Dennis Banks, Russell Means, Martin Luther King, all these people that fought for our ideas or fought for what we need now. They're still there. They're in the spirit world. Don't believe what a religion tells you, that everybody's going to hell or whatever. These spirits are still here. They're backing us up. We just have to stand strong. Trump is, oh God, not just killing the environment. They're talking about dropping a nuke on North Korea. The fuck? That's total annihilation. We have to get that evil son of a bitch out of there. And the way to do it, you don't have to go through all these complicated court and hearings and politicians. People need to remember, the Constitution is an agreement of services performed, promised to we the people. We own this country. We are the boss. We're not just slaves to Trump or to the government or to anybody. This is our country. They have violated their agreement. The Constitution is a legal and binding contract, unbreakable, undefeatable. So we have to stand up and say it. We can't depend on the politicians, and all it takes is for one person to stand up and say, yeah, Trump, you're fired. You guys, you broke your contract. You didn't just break all these treaties, you broke the big one. But everybody's afraid, you know, stuff. But I've got ideas. But I'm going to let this go right now because I got to see Jim and get him ready for bed. So, anyway, I can't tell you how much knowledge I have from experience for living through things. I can tell you why there's gangs, why there's poor. I can tell you everything that has happened bad to anybody in this world has happened to me. And I used to think that it was punishment. But you know what it was? It was a blessing. It was a gift. I have to share what I know before I die. Can't get nobody to come and learn. But I'm not giving up. I'm looking for anybody that wants to be my assistant. Now, they don't even have to do it here. I want somebody to make a series of videos of how to do queer work my way. I have so many skills. I want to give them to somebody. And there's so many young girls that are just coming out of, or things happening to them like I did. I believe that was why I'm still alive. I have to give what Creator gave to me. I'm asking for help. Everybody just blows me off. I call them, I've been looking for an attorney. I mean, it's kind of hard when you got it. Everybody said I sound like a chipmunk on helium voice. Well, I tell you what, when I raise my voice and I say, Minnie with Tony, bitch, that's me. And I love you. Water is life. Now you get to see me grunt and act talking tough and everything, and now you get to see me try to straighten up and get over here to get around the tablet to let you guys go. Love you.